look like very succinct people. We're going to start. Okay. You know what? Oh yeah. We're ready? All right. Okay. Well, let's bring the Thursday, June 15, 2023 Webster Town Board meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dolly, could you do the roll call, please? Here.
Councilman Abbott?
Here.
Councilwoman Cody? Present. Councilman Cahill?
Here.
Councilwoman Lynn? Here. County Attorney Commissioner?
I want to make sure I just picked up the note. I don't have time to answer this question. Well, this is awesome. It's a little bit bittersweet, Sharon, because we did this, was it last year when we walked around the 3 or 4 houses?
And I think it was
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago?
I think so. We didn't do it last year.
Okay, well, would you like to come up and, because our first thing tonight is a presentation, a plaque presentation on a historic property in Webster. And Ms. Sharon Pratt, who, I probably, Sharon, you can say what you, are you the queen of the Historical Society, the czaress?
No, that's Lynn.
No,
That's Lynn. Well, I know you're the town historian, but you got it in spades, don't you?
Well, I've been a volunteer for a very long time. And, you know, you absorb information and so on. So, yes. So I am a member of the Museum Historic Properties Committee. And other people are here. Raise your hand if you're on the Historic Properties Committee. Okay. And what we do is we find houses in Webster that have, what we say, maintained their integrity. And the question we try to answer with each house is, would the people who built this still recognize them? And Webster is full of a lot of wonderful older houses. And oldest one, 1805/06. And that's up on Lake Road across from Hedges. So we have a great variety of architecture, but very well maintained homes. And so we use the 1902 map to identify a lot of the properties, photographed, come to the Webster Museum, they're in books on the shelves in the back. And then we decided that it would be kind of fun to recognize those that have really maintained their integrity. And we call it Webster's Visible History. And so as you drive around town, check it out. You know, sometimes we just get in the car and we drive, we don't look left or right. Do that and look at some really interesting architecture. So tonight, we're here to recognize a family who have maintained the integrity of their house at 1515 State Road. And if I pull this out, will it be on?
Oh, yes, I will, yeah.
Do you see it? So when you're on State Road, look for this property. So I want to introduce you to Lisa McNamara. She's another member of the committee, and she's going to talk a little bit about the family that owns the house.
Okay.
Well, 1515 State. This home was built circa 1852 in the vernacular style. It has a stone foundation, a front porch, and Palladian-style window group. the homeowners, Molly and Stephen. Dertinger wanted to know more about their home, invited the museum and historian in to discover other interesting parts of their home. It has post and beam construction, moldings, plank floors, and in the lower level, a basement hearth with mantel and an early brick bake oven too. So we thank the Dertingers for their stewardship and adding to Webster's architectural history. And if you would like to.
Sure.
If your family will come right over here, your whole family, right over here. This is nice to have.
How old is the home?
Circa 1852. Yeah. Come on up. No. And his team.
It's nothing like this.
Oh,
Just the outside.
okay. Well, Steve and Molly, thanks for bringing the kids. Have you seen, I mean, first of all, you know, I'll do what Sharon did for the people at home. This plaque here, maybe you've seen it on some of the houses, there's gotta be 70 now?
70 plus.
70 plus that have this. But when I tell you, this, have you felt this? That's, you could weight lift with that thing. So when you attach it to your house, make sure you're going to something solid. But congratulations, and thank you for allowing the Historical Society and Sharon to come into the house and give you this nice butterfly jacket that's got some important information in it. Well, can they have the picture of their house back there? They cannot have the picture of their house.
Just for the picture, yeah. And then we have another one for you. Hold on.
I just say it's a
Sure,
pleasure.
Peter, come in.
It's a pleasure having them out to the house, and they're a real treasure of Webster's, and we appreciate all the work you're doing.
Okay, and Dolly, can you put your minutes?
Thank you very much.
Sharon Grad Golden, Supervisor Clarity, very appropriate. Very deserving. All right, well, next up is a favorite part of the meeting. This is the open to the floor for up to 5 minutes for citizens. And I gotta say, tomorrow is my once a month Monroe County Supervisors Association meeting. And I gotta tell you something, I don't know this for a fact, but I think the way the town of Webster does it is probably as open to the public at our board meetings that any town around. Charlie, you're shaking your head yes. I know some towns don't have it.
That's correct.
Some towns have it 2 minutes, and so, anyway. And I think it speaks volumes about our town. So, our first up tonight is Bob Schlegel. Bob, if you can.
Thank you. Bob Schlegel, 270 Colorado Drive, Webster. Our state and federal leaders are obsessed with this green energy program, and our county leaders promote this agenda. But how will this fit our local energy users in the best manner that we have currently? Who will be responsible when these new systems fail? If you sign this on these totalitarians, it will remove some of the home rule, removing freedoms and choices. State leaders have already dictated restrictions of significant natural gas use in just a few years. Adding to the grid is pure insanity. Have they planned for any of this, and you're on board with this? How extensive have you researched these energy programs? Last year you said you needed more information. What were your sources? There are hundreds of articles available expounding on the failures of so-called green energy program. Solar panels only activate in sunlight, and wind turbines only gather energy in the presence of wind. At night, much of the power needs of the users will come from the storage battery, which is limited, and that energy is expensive. When the battery is not sufficient to supply the users, the base load power is needed, which comes from natural gas and coal production. If that fails, then rationing will be the only option before blackouts and brownouts occur. Have you thought of any of this, what you're leaving us with if you sign this agreement? In order for the state's program to work, a multitude of solar panels and windows will need to overwhelm the spaces of the state in which the cost of the taxpayers will be a hardship. What's in it for the users of this town other than cost, and more cost? Climate change is not directly related to what the green energy companies claim that can change. Where's the data that justifies any of these promotions? No study definitely shown that, and if this, then that is scientifically proven. We know, however, that there will be some energy companies and politicians who stand and make multi-millions on this scam. I hope that there aren't any of them among those in the state or the local area. This grant credit system is about to be based on social credit systems similar to what's applied in China, simply because this will be run by the dictates of our state leaders, where choices and freedoms will be restricted. A recent scientific study in April concluded that the average temperature of our country is the lowest it's been in 130 years, which in itself shows that what global warming and green energy promoters have based their programs on came from false premise as well as conclusion. Signing this agreement is for what? Stand up to the state leaders and say no, like you did last year. I have a couple of questions, if you don't mind, and I'm going to distribute these. Hopefully, we'll get answers to these. Will the carbon credits involve town businesses or everyone in the town? Who will serve as the climate police, the town leadership or those in the state? Will ESG scores be part of this agreement with the state? How does the percentage of renewable energy affect any of the state government grants? How will carbon credits affect any of the state grants? Who will verify the data? Who will be the audit, risk, and compliance teams? And will this program lead to any taxes or fees levied on businesses or the citizens of Webster? Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
And could I present this for the record? Thank you.
Okay. Next up is, well, she alleges to be Jen Prince. We think it is Jen Prince.
Good evening. First of all, I want to thank this gentleman. He did a very fine job doing his research over the last couple of weeks. It really shows that our community is watching these meetings and are staying informed of what is happening here in Webster to ensure that we're helping you and you're helping us to decide on the best programs and development for our community that meets the needs of our community as well as our beliefs and desires. So thank you, sir, for doing that work as well as many others who have been doing fabulous research. Secondly, I do want to thank the town board for tabling this with no future date. I totally understand that because you most likely would not meet the July 28th deadline for filling out paperwork for any possible grants, that is the major reason that this has been tabled at this time. But I do want to inform the community that this will still be a hot topic as we move forward into the next period, towards the end of the year and into the next year for future grants as we move forward with the sewer plant, as well as other projects here in Webster. Most definitely the Fair Life Project with Coca-Cola, which is going to have a major impact on our environment and on our community. I do want you to keep that in mind as you're going through the resolutions tonight, as well as in the planning stages. It looks like great money coming forward from these people, but if we go back and we look at the history of companies like this going into smaller towns, what is the pattern that we might see? So we do have to look forward into the future as Coca-Cola and Fair Life come in here. Are they going to commit, and will that be completely legally in writing that they commit to their part of the deal if they do come and finalize everything? Otherwise, we're going to be left with a major mess and with bigger bills for the citizens here in Webster and our tax base, especially with the sewer. So please be very careful with all of that, but I do want to thank you for tabling. I have spoken with, coincidentally, with somebody downstate, a town downstate near Binghamton area, whose town also went into the pledge for the climate smart communities, just as you were hoping to do in order to check that box for grant funding. They did it before their citizens found out. Speaking with them, their community is now trying to figure out how to get out of the pledge. And this I spoke about the first time around that I spoke. You think you're just signing a pledge and that's that. Once you're in it, if you do decide to go back, we're going to have to learn from other communities what is really happening, as well as those that have signed the pledge for the same reason and now they can't get out. They're being forced to move forward with things, and these are town supervisors that are deciding to say no. So also be aware, and your team might want to start looking at what's called the CAC, which is the Climate Action Community, I believe it's called, which is another piece to the puzzle of this climate change, and there's 2 other agencies that are involved in this. So it's not just the agencies outlined within the Climate Smart Community program. There's a lot of tentacles and fingers in this, and it's a lot deeper. So let's just continue to be on our toes, be careful as we move forward, and I just thank the board again for tabling this, and I just hope it remains that way. Or how do we get it off of it altogether? And just let's kill this resolution. Thank you.
Okay, and that is it for the mic for 5 minutes. Next up is there was one set of board minutes, and because Dolly was on top of this, and that was 2 weeks ago tonight, June 1st board meeting. I reviewed them, they look great. I make a motion we approve the June 1st, 2023 board meeting minutes. Second.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilman Abbott.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi. Aye. Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn.
Aye.
Bill?
I did the bills, reviewed them, and found them in order, and recommend that we pay them as submitted by the Director of Finance.
Second?
Councilman Abbott.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn.
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye. And I reviewed the prepaid warrants as submitted by Paul Adams, the Director of Finance, and make a motion that we approve those.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi.
Aye.
Councilman Abbott.
Aye.
And I make a motion to approve purchase orders as submitted by Paul Adams, the Director of Finance.
Second?
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi.
Aye.
Councilman Abbott.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn.
Aye.
Josh, you want to say anything before we move on to the next one?
I'd just like to say that this is a culmination of a lot of work by our staff over the past 9 months to get to this point. So I'd just like to thank Jim Montgomery, our code compliance coordinator, and Nick Mooney, our building inspector, who were instrumental in helping to draft this property maintenance chapter. And I'm happy that we're finally at this point. So.
Yeah, and it's been a long process. The judges gave you some opinions on it. Charlie, I know that you opined on it. I gotta tell you, what I liked about the whole process of like the final product is I think it is a great balance of respecting the fact it's your property. People shouldn't tell you what you can do on your property, but I think it has common sense in there. Come on, and there's a process now. And I think Jim shined the light on the fact that the previous code had definitions, and you can't really go to court and get something on a definition. Can you, Charlie?
That's what town judges have found.
Right. So, Any comments from the board members or questions?
No, thanks for all your work, gentlemen.
Hey, Dennis,
It's
is it going to be
a
online
long time now.
so we can read it?
All right. Well, I make a motion to adopt local law number 1 of 2023, adding property maintenance chapter in the code of the town of Webster.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty,
Aye.
Councilman Cahill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quinn,
Aye.
Councilwoman Capaldi,
Aye.
Councilman Abbott.
I would just like to add, the seeker for this is a type 2 action, and it doesn't have a negative type of significant impact on the environment.
Yeah, all good, okay. Well, we have a run of the next 3 that I certainly can't make a motion on. Fail. Me signing contracts if we approve these. I guess the first one, I'll look to Art and Rick and whoever else they decide to pull into this to describe what resolution 5 is. You got it.
Thanks, Supervisor. So this is a resolution to authorize the supervisor to sign a construction contract with Novitas in upgrades on the wastewater treatment plant. So a little background on this. This started with a PDR back in late 1999. Not 99, sorry, 2019 and 2020. It's a long ways back. And we partnered with Novitas in August of 2021. From then to now, there's just been countless hours of work and I really got to call out Rick, Dennis and Bob from Novitas, the team from B&L. They've been fantastic to get us to 600 drawings, and I can't tell you how many technical pages they've done. So getting going on this is would be really good for the plant, would be really good for the town and the residents. So long overdue.
And I just want to add also that town attorney Charlie Genesi, with the assistance, did retain an energy contract specialist, Bill Buchan. This is a big enough thing that we needed that second set of eyes, especially with his expertise on this. And I think you guys did a great job, as proved by how much you went back and forth with the Navitas attorneys.
Well, thank you, but it's a unique situation. I think it's the first time we've done energy performance contracting in the town of Webster. It's important that we do it right.
And, Supervisor, I also want to, can't forget Paul Adams. He's been instrumental. Mary's working on a SWIP, so it was a big team effort all the way through.
Huge team.
Huge team effort.
And you are excused for the 1999, because it sort of seems like it's been that long. Working on this, so.
It does, yes.
I would move that the town, resolution for the town of Webster to enter into a general service energy performance contract with Navitas, an engineering services company, for the upgrade of an energy generation by the water pollution control facilities located at 226 Phillips Road, and authorize the town supervisor to sign said contract.
Councilwoman Capaldi,
Aye.
Councilman Cahill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quinn,
Aye.
Councilman Abbott,
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye. The work now begins. Okay, the next one, gee, I don't know if this is Charlie. I don't know if you want to give a little background on this, or you want me to give a little background? Or Josh?
Well, I can start out, again, this is because of the size of the various projects that are going on, particularly, well, combination of both the energy performance development of the wastewater treatment plant and the coming of the Fairlight project, we have reached out to the environmental.
Well, this is what's open up for number 6.
Yes, no, that's what, we're looking at them because of their expertise in
Gotcha.
the Seeker project. I'm saying, the State Environmental Quality Review Act specialists, they are the preeminent, probably they're part of the state. So we have asked them to assist us in the process of entering into a retainer, hopefully a limited retainer.
Yes.
Agreement. But nevertheless important because history has shown very definitely that when there is going to be any kind of litigation against any project, against the town, it's usually through the secret process, resulting in the secret process. So we want to make sure both, because it's the right thing to do, but also to prevent costly, time-consuming, and project delaying procedures.
Yeah.
You're looking at this. I believe it's probably money well spent.
Any questions or?
No, I just wanted to point out that this current agreement authorizes the supervisor to come to the town board to pay up to $10,000. Anything over that, to go back to the
Correct. In fact, I think I might have sent out, I know I emailed some people today in town and I said, if this passes tonight, my first action tomorrow morning was to kind of circle the wagons with 4 or 5 people at the town. So we have a strategy to stay on top of this with Woods Oviatt so that we're not caught off guard by hitting that limit. And I mean, Charlie, you know I love you, all right, but you gotta stay on top of billable hour law firms. I'm not saying you, we have to stay on top of that.
I agree.
Because if we don't, you get a bill and you're like, whoa, how did that happen? And, you know, all of a sudden, well, geez, I was talking to them on the phone for an hour and a half. Well, you can't do that. They're billing you. So I have all the confidence in the world in the group that we're gonna get together with. We'll get the Woods Oviatt people and be proactive on that sort of thing.
The only other comment I would add is that I agree with part of the assessment of this law firm, specifically Jerry Gold. Golden, I've had an opportunity to work with him years ago, and he is very, very good at what he does. So I concur with yourself. That's all I have.
I would move to the resolution to enter and retain Woods Oviatt Law Firm as legal counsel on the secret process related to the Coca-Cola Fairlife project in the town of Webster with an initial fees up to $10,000 and any amount over that to be negotiated prior to them reaching the $10,000 plateau. And yet authorize the supervisor to sign said agreement.
I'll second that.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Contaldi?
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Like to comment?
Sure.
This is another situation where we are reaching out to a law firm with expertise. Unlike the Woods Oviatt firm where I've actually litigated with them on the same side, this is a firm I've litigated against numerous times. But we have decided that they would be good people to assist us in the, well, I guess I'll call it the West Webster Hamlet project, specifically the 600 Ridge Road issue, because they are experts in environmental, not just seeker, but in this case, we'll call it the underground grounds. So they have a background expertise, well known, and they're going to assist us. It's a similar situation. I don't know that we are expecting to expend quite as much money on this. I'm hoping not.
I doubt it, although, you know, never say never. That I know the next milestone in 600 Ridge is the county real estate tax foreclosure. Charlie, you know, we've been in preliminary discussions with the county now that they've seen the phase 2 environmental study. I think, you know, the unknown and the fear of what is there for the last 20 years, well, that's not an unknown anymore. It's somewhat known, and because of that, I think there might be some potential in the county to show that you know, come September, that property could move, either by a buyer or something with the town, a third party. And we, and I've said to you on occasions, even if the county came to us and said, hey, buy it for $1 off of us, I don't know if that's a good deal, because I don't know if the cleanup project is going to be $500,000.
Well, you and I believe, Deputy Supervisor told us this, I know we met with Mr. Goff,
Yeah.
and this is as much preemptive as anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what, any questions or comments on that one?
I would move to make a resolution to enter into agreement with Knopf Shaw LLP as environmental legal counsel on 600 Ridge Road and authorize the town supervisor to sign said agreement.
Councilwoman Conley?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn? Aye. Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye. The eighth item tonight, we're going to table, to be very honest with all that has been going on. We haven't really jumped into the vetting process of 3 or 4 different potential project manager firms. Until we get in and vet, figure out, you know, we can't even come to the board with our suggestions, so unless any questions or comments from the board, make this motion.
Is this to a specific date, Mr. Supervisor, or is it without date?
I would say without date, but I don't mind. I'd love to see it July 6th, but I appreciate how much work would have to be done between now. That's 21 days. So,
Second motion.
well, I'm gonna make a motion to table the contract and allow the supervisor to sign agreement for professional services for project management to oversee the Coca-Cola Fairlight project in conjunction with the town of Webster.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn? Aye. Councilwoman Conley?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Now, Josh, oh, where'd he go?
He's in the character.
Oh, there he goes.
Taking turns over there?
Josh, number 9, about the town board, I know that it's interesting, just a couple resolutions ago, we talked about Jerry Golden and Betsy Bruggs, who's over. They've been kind enough up to this point to somewhat give us free counsel on this. And this resolution, I think, has a lot to do with strategically which of our boards is named to be. Speak to that as why.
Sure. So yeah, a project of this scale and magnitude is classified as a type 1 action. It's going to require review and approvals from multiple different jurisdictions and agencies. So this resolution tonight is basically for the town board to declare its intent to be that liaison for the purpose of the environmental review of the project. So essentially what this resolution will do is start a 30-day clock. We will send out letters to all of the other interested and involved agencies that will be issuing permits or reviewing components of the project. And then they have 30 days to indicate whether or not they agree with the town board being the lead agent. It's very rare to get any of these agencies to contest this sort of thing. But yes, this marks the first step in a lengthy environmental review process for the project.
Any comments or board? I know Bill, you probably have the most board members' experience in this.
I've done a few of these.
Yeah, and I mean, and I'm still kind of getting up to speed after 3.5 years, to tell you the truth. And one thing I do know is that when you got a project this big, the biggest thing in Xerox 60 years ago, I'd rather have the town board be the lead agency. I like delegating, but there's certain things that we should not delegate. I guess that's my layman term thought.
I would move to send a resolution to the town board of Webster to establish the town board as lead agent under the secret review process for the Fairlife project and begin the 30-day coordinated review process to send information to all agencies interested in the project.
Second.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cottrell?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn? Supervisor Cleary?
Aye. All right, Art, this is you.
Back to work on. So this is a resolution to authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with Barton & Judas, our engineering firm, an amount not to exceed $9,500 to evaluate a new sampling point for the town, outfall and the outfall pipe. This comes about for the only reason that currently the village wastewater treatment plant in their outfall falls under our speedies permit, and the village is doing their own upgrade, and along with that, they will be getting their own speedies permit, so they have to do their own sampling separate from ours. For that reason, we need a new sampling point to keep them completely separate. This not to exceed cost of $9,500 will be fully reimbursed by the village.
And that was what I was looking for. Yeah.
This is site, town property.
And this is step one, so they're going to do some construction drawings, technical specs, and give an opinion of cost. At that point, we'll go back to the village. We'll look at that with them, our engineers get together, and we'll go to the next step to construct it, and then we'll be back again. We want to take one step at a time.
Yeah, I know there's two IMAs that are intermunicipal agreements floating around, trying to be the village and the town pursuant to it. One is the common pipe that goes out into the lake. Since both of us are sharing, there's an IMA intermunicipal agreement to talk about maintenance costs and all that stuff. The second one is about the sampling points. And this is part of that second one.
This is the second one, that is correct.
Right. And I guess two pipes coming in, the town sewage plant, the villages, the DEC, those are two separate speedies permits. You gotta sample the town, you gotta sample the village before they go into the common pipe going out.
Absolutely.
That's simply how it
It is
is.
directed by the DEC.
Okay.
I would move that we allow the supervisor to sign an agreement with Barton & Judas for an amount not to exceed $9,500 to evaluate a new sampling point for the town on the site of the town's wastewater treatment plant, prepare a basis of design, construction drawings, and technical specifications, as well as an opinion of probable cost.
Second.
Councilwoman Cottrell?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn? Supervisor Cleary?
Aye. Staying with you guys, I take it?
I'll give this one a rip.
So, yes, this resolution is to approve a contract for polymer, which is a chemical that helps remove water from our biosolids, which lessens our pump cost. And we did a bunch of trials on all of the bids that we received, and this was the lowest bid and the best performer.
Any questions, comments?
No?
This reduction from fairly neighbor.
It was, no, yeah, all chemicals.
I would move that we award polymer bid to Polydyne for Clariflox C-6295 and Clariflox C-6254, excuse me, in the amount of $1.69 per pound, and authorize the town supervisor to execute the contract.
Councilwoman Cottrell?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Senator, aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Supervisor Kennedy?
Aye. And, yeah, the next two, I don't know if Art, Rick, or Paul, or Charlie want to take lead on this.
You guys have Charlie.
You guys, okay.
I'll phone a friend.
Is that called a short straw?
Gee.
On this one?
I jumped in first, I phoned a friend.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a resolution that, we've been doing this for over a year now, about a year. And I think the town board is aware of the struggles that the sewer department and myself, and most importantly, the people on Winter Road and Winter Lane have been going with the state and various applications we've been making. And in any event, we think we've got all pieces put together. This is hopefully the final piece, and once these resolutions are approved, myself and Mary Ann Lamb will put together a nice package, which I think is about the third or fourth package, but then we're going to send this on to the controller's office, and hopefully they won't give us a hard time. So, this is the, these are, there's going to be two. This is both 12 and 13 are pretty much identical, except that they're dealing with two different extensions to the consolidated sewer district. And these are required by regulation that the town board approve the plans that we've already approved. So, does that sound about right?
That's about right.
Yeah.
That is exactly right.
So we're approving it again, and I don't mean we just approved it last year, we just approved it this year. We have to approve it one more time per the regulations. So that's what we're doing. That's what we are asking the board to do. This is pursuant to New York Code of Rules and Regulations, Title II, Part 85. So it's not really in the law per se, but it is in the regulations. Underscore it.
So, the people on these streets, they want to come off septic and tie into the services, is that correct?
That's correct.
I thought of an analogy the other day of this, and it basically is if the town government, on their own, could just make a decision to buy a refrigerator. However, we have to go to the New York State for authority to buy that refrigerator. The cost of it is over $10. Is that essentially what we're dealing with here? Exaggerated case?
I would agree.
That the state has, in their infinite wisdom, a cost per house tying into the sewer that hasn't been changed in forever, and it's just, it's unrealistic, and so now we have to go to the state.
If I may be a little more specific, it's actually gotten lower over the last couple of
gotten
years.
lower,
So
that's right.
instead
Yeah,
of
good
going
point.
up, when we know that goods and services,
Yeah.
particularly in the area of construction, municipal infrastructure has gone up, we know that.
Yeah.
They lowered the threshold. So it is now incumbent on us to take this, and this is what, one is 6 people or 6 residents, the other is 7. We have to go into the controller's office with a huge package of documentation.
And navigate, and I'll say,
Yeah.
the bureaucracy.
Absolutely.
And the interesting thing is I mean, look, there's a lot of people in Webster, a lot of streets. Art, I know that you've been really communicating with the citizens, saying, hey, you know, you're in an old neighborhood, there's 50 of you, 25 plus of you want to get off the septic and on the sewer, and on the sanitary, this is how you do it. So this is a problem, that if we can't control how quickly we can help these people, because we got to go get the blessing from New York State, and we've seen how long that's taken. Anyway,
Yeah, well,
I get off this.
No, it's all right. No, you're right to be on, because it sticks in my craw as well. I've been doing this for 25 years. It's the first time we've had this.
It's an absolute shame, not to just belabor this point, but these poor folks on Winter Road, and I've said it before, can't have family over. They struggle to do their own laundry. And they've all agreed to this, all agreed to pay the cost for it. And they're being held up by New York State.
Yeah. Well, one thing I've learned in a couple of years is that we don't have to go outside the 35 square miles of Webster to make decisions and enact things. Life's good. As soon as we gotta go outside to the county, the state, the feds, all I've seen is it extends the time, it's frustrating. I'll get out the soapbox. All right, any questions from the board or comments? Any other?
It feels like Groundhog Day.
I know, yeah. Well, I make a motion seeking approval of the state comptroller to extend or increase the amount to be expended from improvement to infrastructure of the town of Webster, specifically the Linda Lane extension to the consolidated sanitary sewer district, north of North Pines Park and east of Holt Road in the town of Webster. I will say North Pines Park, now Charles E. Sexton. That's my motion.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Capelli?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Deja vu. I make a motion directing that an application be made to the state comptroller to permit in addition to the consolidated sanitary sewer district, specifically the Woodard Road extension in the town of Webster.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Capelli?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
I've waited all day for this. Are you gonna come up and get on the podium? All right. Without further ado, Resolution 14 is going to be explained by Brayden Connor, I call you the head of human resources,
Director of Personnel. Is the appropriate title.
Okay, we should go with that.
All right. In its most basic form, this resolution requests the town board to do three things. One is to approve the ratified settlement agreement with the CSEA White Collar Union. The second is then to apply the same settlement amounts and salary schedule structure to the salaried non-union employees and the COLA to the citizen board members and elected officials. And three is to amend the town holiday calendar in conformity with the white collar settlement agreement. And I can expand on any of those topics if it so pleases you.
Yeah, certainly, I know that, that seems like those should be three separate resolutions. But you told me yesterday that it certainly made sense to put them all in one resolution because it's tied to that.
Yeah, and it's consistent with the past practice of, to use the phrase, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And so when you reach a settlement with your unionized employees, it's not appropriate to make compensation adjustments for everyone else. And this is, as you know, of course, is our second settlement of the year. We settled the blue collar contract earlier in the year, and the white collar contract and the blue collar contract, it is the same COLAs, same healthcare changes, and the same changes to how we treat new hires. There is a little bit different salary treatment for new hires in the white collar contract, but there's a pattern there, and what we thought was good for the town, good for employees, we thought was good for all employee groups.
And I know that, 4 years is through the end of 26, which is great. But both the blue collar and white collar weren't retroactive to January 1st. They were
correct. They were effective upon settlement, and that's important because the town can't claim retroactive health insurance savings, so therefore, it's fair to not give retroactive wage increases.
And the only other thing I'll say, and then I'll hand it to the board, is that the second component of that, having a structure for our department heads and our non-union employees, and there are a few beyond the department heads, that kind of matches up with white collar as far as steps, starting pays for certain. And I'm really happy about that because the one thing I saw in the last couple of years is we went to hire people like that because we were just, a lot of times, I don't want to say that we were our finger in the air and say, well, what do you think? What should we, offer them? What should their raise be this year? That's a bad system.
Adding, using salary ranges and salary schedules is best in practice tool. It helps you in so many ways. It helps you, as you were saying, when we go to recruit, we know what a relative range is that we're recruiting for. It helps with the predictability of budgeting. We know what the minimum salary is, we know what the maximum salary is, and it also helps avoid kind of one-off situations that are maybe based on the person as opposed to the responsibilities of the position, span of control, consequence of error, qualifications of the position. It's better to analyze the position and analyze the employee separately.
Bill? Andy? Patty?
Like provisions for the parents, out there, talk about. There's a lot of great work.
Andy? And I will say, Braden, I think you and I next Tuesday are at the full meeting of the FLIMHIP, the Finger Lakes, the Health Consortium that Webster's in. And I think I really told you, I do the short straw now on the executive committee of FLIMHIP. I don't know why I do that, but I think, and at the meeting last week, they were like, that was great that you got the blue collar and the white collar to see the health insurance of the 21st century is the high deductible health savings account. And I thought that was a really big win for both the town and the employees.
Well, that's exactly right, Mr. Supervisor. The pricing of the high deductible plans, when coupled with a health savings account, provide the opportunity for significant premium savings for the taxpayer without causing cost shifts to the employee. There's enough in there that the employee is better off and the employer is better off when we structure them correctly. We believe we've achieved that. And as far as health insurance, the main thing is that the old copay plan has gone away except for a handful of grandfathered folks who are close to retirement, and everyone else will have the high deductible plan as their choice. That's something that the non-union folks went to approximately 12 years ago. So this is bringing that same trend to most of the rest of the town.
Well, Braden, thank you, because you were the one leading the charge on both of those negotiations. I know Art, you were with us on the blue collar. It's quite a process, isn't it?
Yeah, it's what Braden has done, structuring all of these is incredible. I've learned a lot from it, so thank you for all your work.
Nothing good happens without teamwork.
I can make this motion, can't I? Yeah, okay, so I make a motion to approve the ratified CSEA white collar unit number 7411-01 union contract for a term of 4 years, 2023 through 2026. Amend the 2023 adopted holiday calendar and adopt a matching compensation plan for non-union salaried employees and officials.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn? Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Capelli? Aye. Councilman Abbott?
Aye. Carlos, hope we didn't make you wait too long on this one. It's not actually.
Not at all.
Yeah. Is this Mary you?
Yeah, Carlos, do you mind if I just explain the project a little bit?
Good evening. I'm Carlos Dacre, live at 360 Lake Road, and I've applied for an excavation permit. I've owned the property since 2000, and I think 13 or 14 I had the opportunity to purchase the property just south of my original parcel, which is a Hojack railroad bed. And I'd like to remove railroad bed at this point to provide additional parking at my house and a little bit more lawn.
And I will tell you this, when you see this letter from our town engineer, I do think it's a smooth process for us.
Yeah, so it does get up to 12 feet in height at the railroad bed, so he's talking with our building department to either do a retaining wall because it is kind of a narrow lot, or clearing out less area and doing a stabilized slope. So we want to make sure that the sandy soils in that area don't erode away and cause tree damage on properties adjacent or anything of that nature. So he's coordinating with both the engineering department and the building department on this.
Any questions or comments?
No, I really like the process that we have that we put in place for this. And some people would think that the coordination with the building department, all it is onerous to the property owner. But in reality, we're just trying to help make it the best project possible and successful. I hope that your experiences show that as well.
Well, I make a motion to approve a fill excavation permit at 360 Lake Road.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn? Aye. Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gertaldi?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye. Thank you for being patient. Alice.
Good evening.
All righty. We have, okay, this is from your department, Josh. Oh, no, it's from Josh and Mary's department.
You can tell the interns are here, huh?
Yes, you can.
We are cleaning the house a little bit more, continuing to digitize things, so we're able to get rid of some of our older cabinets, and that's what this is.
All right. I'll make a motion to declare the following items for recycling from the community development / engineering department. 3-door fire resistant file, tag number 03252. 3-door file cabinet, tag number 03245. Flat bookcase with glass cover, tag number 02750. And a 2-door file cabinet, tag number 03253. Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gertaldi?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
What are you guys doing over at the sewer department?
We're cleaning like engineering and community development.
Spring?
We're cleaning, in preparation for a lot of things, but just in general cleaning. So, and that includes the 2012 Ford pickup. We are auctioning and getting rid of items that are no longer functional, obsolete, just need to go. Okay. That includes that whole list.
Okay, let's see how fast I can read this. Make a motion to declare the following items for auction / recycling from the sewer department 2012 Ford pickup, tag number 05681. Dissolved oxygen meter service number 04E979. Fisher Scientific meter, tag number 01957. Triple B balance, tag number 01022. Triple B balance, no tag. AO Instrument Colonies counter, tag number 01963. Orion Research, tag number 01423. Ion, is that analyzer? Is that supposed to be analyzer?
We'll go ahead.
Tag number 00116. Thermaline hot plate, tag number 01042. And Bausch & Lomb Spectronic 70, tag number 00158, which is old tag number was 00155.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gertaldi?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Well, we have one tabled item that I'll have Harry Harrington, if you don't mind, just give we're going to table it.
Yes, we're going to table it again. We have gone through quite a robust process with a number of staff at the town trying to figure out the best approach to grant and public funding assistance. So we've gotten qualifications from a number of firms. We've had a handful of them present to the town board, and now we're doing some follow-up interviews to just kind of evaluate how we can best utilize the qualifications we've discovered during this process. So we are still working through this, and we're going to table it to another meeting.
And I think it's good. This project, this is a long game project, so we don't want to rush the judgment. So Any questions? I make a motion to table the resolution to contract allow the supervisor to sign agreement for professional services related to grant and public funding assistance for the town of Webster.
Before the vote, I just again, question, is this without date?
We'll go without date. Thank you, Charlie.
Supervisor Serdi?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn? Aye. Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Capelli?
Aye.
And Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
All right, well, that concludes the agenda for tonight. We'll do the quick round table or semi-circle table. Let's see. Mary, let me start with you.
Sure. I think one of the most momentous things that happened this week was the highway bid got advertised on Wednesday. So that's out to bid for about 5 weeks. There's 5 contracts that we will be awarding for that project, and we will be opening bids on July 19th. So very exciting for that project. And Bill, did I take your announcement?
That's okay.
Josh?
So as Mary alluded to earlier, our 2023 summer interns started a couple weeks ago. So we are exposing them to a variety of projects, taking them along with us to meetings, and hopefully it's going to be a rewarding experience for them.
Paul?
I actually received our 2022 audit report yesterday. It was a little later than usual. Everything was basically good. There's some management letter comments that we'll be addressing. This year they had to do a single audit because we had received so much in federal money, actually we spent so much in federal money, which is basically derived from the ARPA funds, the rescue funds. So that report's not quite issued yet, but they'll be coming in the next couple of days.
Thanks, Paul. Art? Oh, actually,
So,
I can't short break you.
no,
Right.
you want to go first?
Would you like to?
No, I think if you're at a table, you have to go first.
Oh, okay, then you're at the kids' table.
At the kids' table. So, last meeting, we talked about the update at our outlet pump station. It is up and running. Like so many things in the supply chain, our standby generator has been delayed. So, we're still waiting for that. I did send a note out to the board the other day that the sanitary main lining that we had completed back in October of last year, we did about 1,000 feet of it, has been successful to this point. We have not had flooding and just overwhelming at our Hedges pump station. Our staff doesn't have to sit there through the night anymore in rain events, and we don't have to call Chamberlain and spend tens of thousands of dollars to hold the station so it doesn't flood and go into the lake. So pretty happy about that investment that the town made.
That was a great email.
And Art, I like the fact that I can go to Hedges this summer, maybe have a drink and not have Barry, come out telling me for a fight.
I hope not.
I like that. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're at the adult table.
I'm at the adult table. As you know, we wrapped up our tours to the public. We did 7 or 8 of them, about 70 residents participated. We got good reviews from it. I sent out emails to thank them all for coming. We got some good feedback from them on that they enjoyed it. It was very informative. And we do have one more. There was an individual who missed, wasn't able to make his sign up, so we requested so he's going to get a personal tour. But, and our virtual tour, thanks to Karen, did a great job putting that together. We got several thousand views on that. So, and still welcome the public.
I haven't talked to you guys about this yet, but a friend of mine is a military helicopter pilot, and he wants to have his crew, or I don't know, there's like 10 of them. They want to come and do the tour of the sewer facility, and their quid pro quo is that you guys can come and tour there, and they'll take you up in the military helicopter.
We're in.
Said Deal. Well, I said, I'll talk to the guys about it, but I said, I can already give you the answer. They really enjoyed doing the tours, I think they did. And he said, I said, really, your crew of guys and gals would want to go in? They're like, yeah, they're all, I don't know.
What about the liaison consumer?
Do you want to go up in one of those wheelchairs? Yeah, you could, I don't, I mean, I don't think that's a misuse of government, right? I mean, we're giving them a tour, they're gonna give us a tour,
Well, I think there's a connection. I think it's important that the federal government
yeah. Yeah. Mark Vagey is his name, so I will let him know what I told him. Look, I can tell you it's gonna happen, so that'll be fun. Sound good? Jenny?
Well, thank you for everyone that's been here today, and again, come out and support as a liaison for the Webster Museum. I'm honored and privileged that congratulations for 15 state enrollment. And check out all their properties. Webster town, wonderful history. Check out the website in the Webster Museum and also support the Webster Library. We got a lot of activities going on for the summer already. So come out and enjoy.
Jonathan?
So, and then it's June and school is winding down. Just wanted to take the opportunity to congratulate all those parents, students, and Webster Schrader and Webster Thomas, who we have sons and daughters graduating this year. It's speaking as a father. It's bittersweet.
Let's see. Bill?
Mary stole my thunder. Oh, we're finished up quite a few drainage projects recently. So that crew is moving on to other things. We're going to start chip seal, I think, July 1st, after the holiday.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're going to be busy.
Yeah.
Also moving pipe and everything else to the north side of the site to get it ready for construction, groundbreaking. For the new project.
Okay.
I want to thank the Parks and Rec Department for putting on what looked to be a great community celebration Saturday night, Saturday afternoon and night. I was unable to attend, but I saw rave reviews and pictures of the crowd, and there were between 6,000 and 7,000 people out there.
Crazy.
So it looked wonderful. Thank you for all their hard work on that. And also, I want to remind everyone that there is a drug take-back day next Saturday, June 24th, at the wastewater treatment plant on Phillips Road. We are partnering with Webster Health Education Network and Assemblyman Brian Mantlo for that drug take-back. The Webster Police Department is also going to be instrumental in holding that, as well as some of our employees down at the wastewater treatment plant. So please come and drop all your expired and unused medications, and they will be properly taken care of.
Charlie?
I wanted to give a little shout out to the assessor and the Board of Assessment Review. They had only, first time in many, many years, we only had to have 2 days of hearings. And that's a tribute to the board, a tribute to the assessor and her staff, who did a great job at streamlining the process as much as we could, and also just putting everything together so that everything could be realized in a short period of time. So we had a few less than usual. We have quite a few. We still had over 100 complaints, but they were dealt with fairly and completely and very efficiently. So I want to give a shout out to the assessing department and the Board of Assessment Review.
Now, we always finish with that. Oh, Brady! I'm gonna pay for this.
Yes,
All right, I'm at the table now.
Yes.
So, a couple of items. One is that we held our first United Way campaign since COVID, and pledges were up 30%. So that's a salute to the employees. We've been doing a number of benefits presentations to educate employees on high deductible health plans and HSAs, And I want to borrow one of the supervisor's phrases and say that Kelsey Feeney in our payroll benefits unit has done yeoman's work in implementing and getting everything ready to run smoothly. She's a real joy to work with. And then the last thing is, and maybe it got mentioned and I missed it, but this week the town relaunched its website. And so there's a new URL. It's websterny.gov. The old one still works. And Karen Buck did a very nice job and given it a nice fresh appearance. And I'm sure there'll be more to come.
That's great. And I always, we haven't, you know, I usually don't say this, I gotta say this. Dolly this week, in our meeting, Dolly's great. She's just looking at some innovative things with the clerk's department. I'll just leave it at that. That made me very happy as we kind of move ourselves into the 21st century. Dolly? Good customer service.
Joe, in the future, bringing up to board, this time, still doing some research.
I knew you wouldn't say anything.
Well, not yet, because I.
Well, that's true. It's just the fact that you are researching it and looking at innovation. Very happy. Well, without anything else being said, this.
You want to mention that we're closed on Monday? This is our first year celebrating.
I think you're doing a wonderful job. Okay, so keep going.
The town hall is closed on Monday and will be reopened on Tuesday, 20th.
That is correct. So, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, Chair.
Are they usable or not?
But if they do push project, yeah. That's what I figured. But, yeah.